Hey food lovers! Have you ever seen something so spectacularly wrong that you couldn't look away? Well, buckle up because today we're diving into what might be the most questionable shortbread cookies to ever grace the internet. And trust me, after you see these, you'll never take a decent cookie for granted again. So picture this, someone with 20 million Instagram followers decides to share their homemade cookies with the world. Sounds wholesome, right? Well, what we got instead was, let's call it abstract baking art. And not the good kind. These aren't just bad cookies, they're a masterclass in how everything can go wrong in the kitchen, then get photographed anyway. First up, we have these rectangular things. Imagine if someone tried to make shortbread but got distracted by their phone, overcrowded the dough, then decided to dunk half of them in what looks like expired white chocolate. Then, and this is where it gets weird, they rolled them in what can only be described as flower petals that might have been beautiful once, but now look like they've seen better days. The result? Cookies that look less like treats and more like craft project casualties. Then we have these squarish cookies with single holes punched in the top. At first glance, you might think cute. But look closer and they start resembling tiny, one-eyed creatures wearing droopy diapers. Some are half-dipped in that mysterious white coating, with wilted botanical bits stuck on like desperate afterthoughts. It's giving ransom note meets kindergarten craft table vibes, and I can't unsee it. Now, jam cookies should be foolproof, right? Fill some dough with jam, bake, enjoy. But even these relatively simple treats got caught up in the chaos. They're sitting on what appears to be a well-used baking sheet that's seen more action than a food truck during lunch rush. Can we talk about the color palette for a second? Everything is beige. The cookies, the wax paper, the baking tray, even the table, it's like someone drained all the joy out of baking and left us with 50 shades of bland. And don't get me started on that wax paper. It's cut like someone was using safety scissors while blindfolded. Half the cookies aren't even sitting on it properly. Here's where things get really interesting. Those flower sprinkles? They look like the kind of dried petals you'd sweep off your porch in October. But somehow, they've been glued onto these cookies with some mysterious coating that promises the delightful experience of picking plant matter out of your teeth. Every bite would be an adventure, and not the fun kind. Let's get serious for a minute about what shortbread should be. Crumbly and rich texture, these look dry and hard. Clean, even shapes, these are more abstract art than uniform cookies. Golden, buttery color, we're dealing with aggressive beige here. These cookies look like they moonlight as drywall samples. The edges are ragged, the shapes are wildly inconsistent, and some of those rectangles look like they've lost limbs in battle. If you're sharing your baking with millions of people, maybe, just maybe, invest in a clean baking sheet? I'm not saying everything needs to be Instagram perfect, but when you're building a brand around lifestyle content, details matter.